Do you find yourself trapped in an endless spiral of self-criticism, doubt, and mental poison? Does your inner voice sound more like your harshest enemy than your closest ally? Do negative thoughts hijack your mind so completely that you forget what peace and self-compassion even feel like? If you're nodding along, know that you're not defective, weak, or beyond help. What you're experiencing is one of the most common human struggles, and more importantly, it's one that can be transformed. What I'm about to share isn't wishful thinking or surface-level positivity. These are scientifically backed strategies that have helped countless people escape the prison of negative thinking. In the next few minutes, you'll discover how to break free from the cycle of mental self-attack, not by forcing positive thoughts, but by understanding the true nature of your inner critic and learning to respond with wisdom rather than reactivity. This is your roadmap from mental torment to genuine inner peace. The negative mind trap. Understanding your inner critic. Most people make a critical mistake when dealing with negative thoughts. They confuse them for objective truths. When your inner voice whispers, "You're not good enough," or shouts, "You always screw things up," it feels like reality. It's self-speaking. The tone is convincing, as if your mind has insider knowledge about who you really are. But the truth is far less dramatic and far more liberating. These statements are not reality. They are echoes of mental habits, patterns. Your brain has practiced over and over until they became automatic. Negative thoughts are like grooves etched into a record that plays the same track on repeat. Imagine a radio station stuck on one frequency, broadcasting songs of criticism, doubt, and fear day after day. It's not that this station is the only one available. It's just the one you've tuned into for so long that it feels like the only option. The problem isn't that you are broken or defective. It's that your brain, wired for survival, has become overly cautious. In its attempt to shield you from rejection, embarrassment, or failure, it has developed an oversensitive alarm system. That system interprets almost everything as a potential threat and then blares its warnings in the form of harsh self-talk. This harshness is easy to mistake for truth because it often borrows the voice of authority figures from your past. Parents, teachers, coaches, or peers who criticized you, directly or indirectly. Think of these thoughts as an overprotective parent living inside your head. This parent doesn't attack you because you're worthless. Rather, it scolds you because it believes criticism will push you toward improvement. But just like a parent who only notices flaws while ignoring strengths, this strategy backfires. Instead of motivating you, it creates a state of constant tension. Instead of preparing you to succeed, it undermines your confidence. You end up shrinking under the weight of judgment rather than expanding into your true potential. Here's the fundamental breakthrough. Your negative thoughts are not facts. They are learned habits, mental reflexes conditioned by repetition, experience, and environment. And just as habits can be learned, they can also be unlearned. With awareness, patience, and compassion, you can gradually retune the frequency of your inner radio. Instead of endless static filled with criticism, you can cultivate broadcasts of encouragement, understanding, and clarity. This doesn't mean you'll never have another negative thought. The human mind produces them automatically like clouds passing through the sky. But when you stop treating every critical thought as an unquestionable truth, you loosen its grip on you. You give yourself the space to pause, to ask, is this thought accurate? Is it helpful? Does it reflect reality, or just a well-worn mental habit? Over time, this questioning becomes a powerful skill. Instead of being dragged along by your inner critic, you begin to respond with balance and perspective. Where your mind says you'll fail, you can answer, that's just fear talking. I don't know the outcome yet, but I can prepare and try. Where it says, you're not enough, you can remind yourself, I may not be perfect, but I am growing, learning, and worthy as I am. This shift isn't just theoretical, it transforms the way you live. Confidence grows when you no longer define yourself by every self-critical impulse. Stress decreases when you recognize that not every fearful thought is a warning you must obey. Relationships deepen because you're no longer operating from a place of constant self-doubt. You reclaim the freedom to act from clarity and intention rather than fear and self-condemnation. Ultimately, learning to see negative thoughts for what they truly are, habits, not truths, is a form of self-liberation. It allows you to step off the treadmill of endless self-criticism and begin walking a new path, one guided by awareness, compassion, and possibility. The witness within your unshakable core. Beneath the storm of negative thinking lies something deeper, something no criticism, no harsh judgment, and no inner attack can ever truly touch. This is your witnessing awareness, the quiet observer within you that has always been present. It is the part of you that can notice thoughts without being defined by them, that can sense emotions without drowning in them, that remains steady and unshaken even when the mind is spinning in chaos. Unlike the voice of self-doubt that fills your head with noise, this awareness is calm, silent, and spacious. It does not shout for attention, but if you pause long enough, you can feel it quietly watching, patiently waiting for you to remember it is there. You've already experienced this presence in small ways. Whenever you notice that you're worrying, the one who notices is not the worry itself, it is the awareness behind it. When you catch yourself daydreaming and realize I'm lost in thought, the awareness of being lost is not the daydream. It is something greater, something unchanging, something that exists beyond the thought. That something is who you really are. The mind can be compared to an ocean. On its surface, the waves are in constant motion, sometimes rolling gently, sometimes crashing wildly against one another. These waves are your thoughts, rising and falling, colliding and pulling you into their currents. When negative thinking takes over, it feels like being caught in a violent storm at sea. The surface of your mind becomes chaotic, overwhelming and relentless, leaving you feeling tossed around, lost, with no anchor and no ground beneath your feet. You mistake yourself for the turbulence, forgetting that there is more to the ocean than the storm at its surface. But here lies the profound truth: you are not the waves. You are not the endless stream of crashing thoughts, the foaming surges of fear, or the pounding breakers of self-criticism. You are the vast and silent depths beneath them. No matter how wild the storm above, the depths of the ocean remain calm, undisturbed and still. And in the same way, no matter how loud the voice of self-judgment becomes, there exists within you a stillness that cannot be shaken, a spaciousness that cannot be broken, a peace that is untouched by even the fiercest storm. This stillness is not something you need to earn. It is not something you have to perfect yourself to deserve. It is not a prize given after years of struggle. It is your natural state of being. It exists beneath the surface noise of your mind, beneath the endless chatter of fear and doubt, beneath the layers of stories you've carried for years. And the most remarkable truth is that it has always been there. Even when you forgot, even when you doubted, even when you felt completely lost, the stillness remained. The way back to this awareness is surprisingly simple, though it requires practice. You do not need to silence your mind or control your thoughts. You do not need to force yourself into positivity. Instead, you begin by watching. The next time a negative thought arises, I'm not enough, I'll fail, I always mess things up, pause. Instead of wrestling with the thought or analyzing it, instead of trying to push it away, imagine yourself gently stepping back. Give yourself just a little space between who you are and what your mind is saying. From this distance, see the thought not as you, but as a passing event, like a cloud drifting across the sky of your awareness. Watch how it forms, how it gathers, energy, how it may darken and feel heavy, and then watch how it begins to dissolve. Every thought, no matter how convincing, no matter how loud, eventually fades. No cloud has ever stayed in the sky forever. No wave has ever remained frozen in place. No thought defines you because no thought lasts. As you practice this, something begins to shift. You start to realize that you are not the storm. You are the sky that holds it. You are not the turbulence. You are the vast awareness in which turbulence comes and goes. Thoughts may come, thoughts may go, but you remain. You are the backdrop, the space, the silent witness of it all. And when you rest in that awareness, you discover a freedom that negative thinking cannot touch. From this place of presence, you no longer feel the need to fight with your thoughts. You no longer feel compelled to believe them or obey them. Instead, you are free to choose how to respond. A thought that once triggered fear can now be met with patience. A harsh judgment can be softened with compassion. A story of failure can be reframed with courage. You begin to live not as a prisoner of your mind, but as its conscious guide. And the more you practice this way of seeing, the less control negative thinking has over you. The waves of thought still rise, because that is what waves do, but they no longer pull you under. You stop identifying with the storm and instead rest in the calm depths beneath it. You stop mistaking yourself for every cloud that passes overhead, and instead remember that you are the boundless sky itself. This shift does not mean escaping life. It does not mean ignoring challenges or pretending pain doesn't exist. On the contrary, it means seeing life more clearly. When you are anchored in awareness, difficulties no longer feel like personal verdicts against your worth. They are simply experiences passing through. Failure no longer feels like evidence that you are broken. It becomes part of the process of learning. Even success no longer needs to be clung to with fear of losing it. It can be enjoyed fully in the moment and then allowed to pass naturally, like everything else. And when you begin to live from this deeper place, you discover something extraordinary. A peace that was never missing, only hidden. A peace that does not depend on having perfect thoughts, perfect achievements, or perfect circumstances. A peace that was always here, beneath it all. It does not need to be created. It only needs to be uncovered. It is the steady undercurrent of calm that runs through your life, waiting for you to notice it again and again. As you return to this awareness over and over, you remember who you truly are. You are not the storm. You are not the waves. You are not even the sky filled with clouds. You are the vast, timeless presence in which everything comes and goes. And from that place, life looks different. The mind's chatter feels lighter. Problems seem less overwhelming. Joy feels closer, more natural, more effortless. Beneath all the noise, beneath all the storms, there is a sanctuary that cannot be touched. And it is not somewhere you must travel to find. It is who you have always been. If this message resonates with you, and you're seeking more moments of peace and insight, don't forget to like the video and subscribe for daily reflections rooted in ancient wisdom and modern clarity. The biology of negative thinking, rewiring your brain. Negative thinking isn't just a fleeting mental habit. It has profound effects on both your brain and your body. Every thought you think leaves an imprint. When you repeatedly engage in harsh self-criticism, rumination, or catastrophic predictions, you strengthen neural pathways that make pessimistic thinking feel automatic. Almost like the default channel your mind tunes into without effort. Over time, this rewiring conditions your brain to expect the worst, doubt your abilities, and replay old fears. At the same time, the pathways associated with self-compassion, optimism, and balanced thinking grow weaker from disuse. In other words, the more you entertain negative thinking, the more natural it becomes, and the harder it feels to step outside the cycle. But here's the good news. You are not locked into this wiring forever. The brain is not static. It is adaptable and capable of change at any age through a process called neuroplasticity. Neuroplasticity is your brain's ability to reorganize itself by forming new neural connections. This means every time you interrupt a negative thought pattern and replace it with a healthier one, you're not just thinking differently, you are literally reshaping your brain. With consistent practice, what once felt like a rigid cycle of negativity can be softened and replaced with more constructive, compassionate patterns. To begin this process of rewiring, here are 3 scientifically proven techniques to interrupt negative thought spirals and redirect your brain toward healthier pathways. The stop technique. When you notice yourself spiraling into a loop of negativity, perhaps repeating, "I'll never get this right," or "I always fail," immediately interrupt the cycle by mentally shouting the word "stop." You can say it silently in your mind or even out loud if the moment allows. This simple but powerful interruption works like slamming on the brakes of a runaway train. It disrupts the automatic cascade of thoughts and gives you a crucial moment of pause. That pause creates the space you need to make a conscious choice about what comes next, rather than being carried away by the current of your habitual negativity. Over time, this technique teaches your brain that it doesn't have to blindly follow the same ruts of thinking. It can choose new tracks. The 5-second rule, created popular by productivity expert Mel Robbins, this tool is rooted in behavioral science. The idea is simple. When you feel yourself caught in a negative loop, count backward from 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, and then immediately take a positive action, no matter how small. It could be standing up, taking a deep breath, going for a short walk, or sending a message to a supportive friend. The backward counting engages your prefrontal cortex, the part of your brain responsible for decision-making and self-control, pulling you out of autopilot. By pairing it with immediate positive action, you shift your physiology and psychology simultaneously. Instead of giving your negative thoughts time to build momentum, you replace them with forward movement. Even tiny actions, reaching for a glass of water, stretching your body, writing down one thing you're grateful for, help retrain your brain toward new, healthier responses. The loving kindness. Reset. This practice draws from both neuroscience and ancient contemplative traditions. When you notice the inner critic attacking, gently place your hand on your heart. Then, with as much sincerity as you can, say to yourself, "May I be kind to myself in this moment." This act may seem small, but it has profound physiological effects. The simple physical gesture activates your parasympathetic nervous system, calming your body's stress response. The words themselves cultivate self-compassion, which research shows can reduce anxiety, increase resilience, and promote emotional healing. On a neurochemical level, this practice stimulates the release of oxytocin, the bonding hormone, which helps your brain associate self-kindness with safety and connection. The more often you practice it, the easier it becomes for your mind to shift from self-attack to self-support. What makes these techniques powerful is that they are not just feel-good exercises. They are practical tools for rewiring your brain's default settings. Each time you use them, you weaken the neural pathways of negativity and strengthen the ones associated with presence, compassion, and positive action. Over weeks and months, this repetition builds new patterns that eventually feel just as natural as your old cycles once did. Imagine the possibilities. Instead of automatically spiraling into doubt, your brain begins to pause, breathe, and reset. Instead of defaulting to self-criticism, your reflex becomes kindness. Instead of letting fear paralyze you, your instinct becomes action. These are not changes that happen overnight, but they are changes that happen with consistency. And science shows that even small, regular practices can lead to profound transformation over time. The storm of negative thoughts may still rise, but you will no longer be powerless against it. With tools like Stop, the 5-second rule, and the loving kindness reset, you can stand in the eye of the storm with clarity, compassion, and courage. And slowly but surely, you will notice that your inner landscape has changed. The pathways of fear and criticism begin to fade, while the pathways of self-trust and compassion grow stronger. This is the power of neuroplasticity. This is the proof that you are not stuck with the mind you have. You are capable of building a new one. The Peace Method, your 5-step liberation strategy. When negative thoughts attack, most people either believe them completely or exhaust themselves fighting against them. The Peace Method offers a middle path, a way to work skillfully with your inner critic. Pause. I notice negative thoughts are here. Simply acknowledging what's happening creates distance between you and the thoughts. Examine, is this thought helpful or harmful? Is it based on facts or fears? Investigate your thoughts like a curious scientist, not a harsh judge. Accept, it's normal for minds to produce negative thoughts sometimes. Stop making negative thoughts mean something's wrong with you. Choose, what thought would be more helpful right now? What would I say to a dear friend? Consciously select a more compassionate perspective. Engage, what loving action can I take for myself right now? Move from mental criticism to constructive behavior. This method transforms you from a victim of your thoughts into a wise guardian of your mental space. The ultimate truth, you are not your thoughts. As we arrive at the close of this journey together, let me leave you with a truth so profound so transformative, that if you let it land in your heart, it has the power to reshape how you see yourself and your life forever. Negative thoughts are not who you are. They are not your essence. They are not your identity. They are not the sum of your being. They are visitors, passing guests, fleeting clouds drifting across the vast, limitless sky of your awareness. Sometimes they gather, heavy and dark, rolling in like a storm. Sometimes they flash with lightning, loud and startling. But storms always pass, clouds always move. The sky remains vast, open, untouched, and so do you. At your core, beneath the noise, beneath the weather, beneath the turbulence of thought, you are something far greater. You are worthy, you are valuable, you are enough. Not someday, not once. You prove yourself. Not once you fix yourself, not once the world validates you, but right now. Exactly as you are, in this breath, in this moment, in this body, in this life. The harsh commentary that sometimes echoes in your mind is nothing more than static. It can be loud, yes. It can feel convincing, yes. But it is not truth. It cannot touch the steady, unshakable, eternal presence of your true self. And here is the miracle. The power to transform your inner world has never been somewhere out there. It has never depended on someone else's approval, someone else's love, someone else's permission. It has always lived here inside you. It has always been yours. The tools live in your awareness. The strength rests in your choices. And the peace you have been searching for. It is not waiting at the end of some distant, unreachable road. It is here. It is now. It is available in this very moment, in this very breath, in the simple act of choosing kindness over criticism, compassion over judgment, love over fear. Your journey toward freedom is not a grand leap into the unknown. It is not a mountaintop that requires years of climbing. It begins with something small, something humble, something profoundly powerful. Your very next thought. Each time you choose gentleness instead of harshness, you build a new path. Each time you choose compassion instead of condemnation, you lay another stone on that path. And with every choice, the way forward becomes clearer, wider, easier. You do not need to wait for confidence before you walk this path. You do not need to silence every fear before you begin. Courage is not the absence of fear. It is the decision to move with love even when fear is present. Courage is choosing compassion when your inner critic is screaming. Courage is loving yourself in the moments it feels hardest to love. So I say to you, walk gently, walk patiently, walk faithfully with yourself. Trust the quiet truth that you are capable of growth, of healing, of transformation. And most of all, make the unwavering commitment to treat yourself with the same love and respect you would give to someone you cherish deeply. Never forget, you are not broken. Never forget, you are not the cruel voice of your worst thoughts. Never forget, you are not and never will be alone in this journey. Freedom from negative thinking is not some far-off dream reserved for a better version of you. It is not waiting in a future you have to chase. It is here, it is today, it is now. It does not depend on the world outside you. It does not require perfection. It does not demand that you become someone else. It begins by embracing who you are right now, with tenderness, with compassion, with truth. And so hear this clearly. The prison door you believed was locked, it was never locked. It has always stood open. The key you thought you lacked, it has always been in your hands. And the freedom you long for, it has always been yours to claim. So, step forward, step free, step boldly into the wide open space of your own possibility. Step into the truth of who you are. Step into the vast, infinite life that is already waiting for you.